need to take the steps to bypass and get the money back in.
Yeah.
Somebody did drop the ball.
Not very loud, Kenny. You want to turn it up, Kenny? Yeah. You want it? Turn it up just a hair. That's good, right there. I say that because I'm far away. I like to beat on the microphones too. You ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes. I feel like I've already sat through 2 whole meetings.
Well, I'll make this a half.
Okay, good deal.
I'd like to welcome you all to tonight's commissioner meeting of February the 20th. Do we have any veterans with us tonight? There being none, I'm going to lead the pledge in honor of Sammy Davis Jr., who's in town. He's in Mooresville. Tomorrow is Sammy Davis Day in Mooresville. Sammy Davis is a Medal of Honor winner. If you've not read his story, it's amazing. And I hope you get a chance to come up to Mooresville and meet him, which I've done. It's a wonderful man. So in his honor, let me lead you in the pledge. And it's just my own thing. If you hear me say one nation under God, that's because that's the way it's written. It's not written one nation under God. There's no comma. But you do what you want. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You can be seated. I want to read a prayer. The other night, the Soil and Water Council of SWCD had a wonderful dinner and program. It's their annual dinner, I guess, wasn't it, Lisa? Lisa did a fantastic job. Doug was here, and they had a prayer, and I liked it. And I said, we'll just, in honor of the SWCD, the conservation of our county, I'm going to use the prayer that Lisa gave the other night. Please bear with me, because I'm reading things, and sometimes I don't do a real good job because I get ahead of myself. God of all things, the beauty that you have created sings in your glory. Please deepen our gratitude for all that you have made, every creature and plant and person. Awaken us a renewed commitment to care for the earth and for each other. Inspire us to take the actions needed to preserve your creation. Give us openness to listen to those most affected by changes and losses in our environment, and the courage to act urgently and wisely so that our beautiful land may be healed and restored, and all the people and generations to come may delight in it. Amen. Thank you, Lisa. First item on our agenda this evening is besides the Pledge and the Allegiance of new business, is the minutes from February the 5th, February the 5th, 24. Do we have any comments or motions?
Brian Kyer makes a motion that we adopt the minutes as presented for our February 5th meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I just want to comment that I appreciate the E on my last name because that's the thing I most often have to correct.
Are you Ann with the E?
Yes, my Ann with an E on my first name. I appreciate it.
Still one of my favorite programs.
I just love it because that's the thing I always have to correct in minutes, and I appreciate it.
Noted, and I'll try to remember that myself. And if you ever get a chance, go up to Prince Edward Island and see the author of the book that wrote that. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes 3-0. We have with us a treasurer's report. We appreciate that. You want to review it, and Terry has graciously provided us a report monthly. I think that's kind of handy. Any questions about the treasurer's monthly report? I have a comment. There's a lot of big numbers there. It's amazing how much money goes through our, but yeah, I've often reported, and I don't think that makes the paper or anything, but that's money that we take and we also give back. And I think that's something that people tend to forget, that our salaries are taken care of in the grocery stores and the banks, and the contracts that we do are as much as we can with our local people. So it's not just grab, but it's a sharing. And I appreciate the treasurer's comments and accuracy on her report. I don't know if it's accurate or not. I assume it is because I don't have that opportunity. But thank you for Terry. I think she's here someplace. Hi, Terry.
And Don, if you'd like to share more with me, I will give you my bank account number.
Well, I know it goes back into the community.
Well, yeah, it goes to my 3 kids.
Do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report, monthly report, as presented?
Motion, we approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
It's moved and seconded, and all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Yeah, and the clerk, Tammy's got one in here.
Didn't see that.
Yep, report of the county clerk.
Oh, county clerk, everybody's getting a report. It is coming up. Monthly report of the clerk of the circuit court, Tammy here?
No, she won't normally be here. They're just informational for you. All you guys,
Just information?
I don't even
Okay.
think we vote on them, do we?
you don't even need to.
We don't need to, we just say thank you,
We accept them as presented.
accept them as presented. All right, that's what we do.
Yep.
Thank you.
So I accept the clerk's report as presented.
We all accept the report? Accepted. All right, thank you. We have an annual contract with the Soil and Water Conservation District. Lisa and Doug.
How are you guys?
Great.
So-
And you?
Fine. thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the support you give our district. You guys are pretty well aware that it's something we're pretty passionate about. We feel is pretty important for our community. What good is our community if we can't grow food here and if we can't drink the water here? So Lisa does a great job of administering our program. She wears many hats. So I don't want to steal her thunder, so I'll let her give you an update of what we've been up to.
Thank you.
If you guys have time, I was going to give you a little update. Because our agreement here covers a lot of different areas, from just advising landowners on erosion issues to like youth programming. We also work with the conservation partners in Indiana, the State Department of Ag, the NRCS, which is the Natural Resource Conservation Service, and some of the federal programs even, to bring grant dollars and conservation into Morgan County, in addition to like just the educational stuff that we do. I know I've mentioned over the last few years that we had a grant through Clean Water Indiana. We were able to bring $32,400 in over the last 3 years. And that money we were used as a pass-through for that grant. And we administered that, providing technical assistance as far as like education and helping people to implement these conservation practices, and then using the grant money to help them actually implement that. And so we just completed that, and I had Deb pass out like the little flyer that I created at the end. It's amazing the amount of sediment you can save and keep in place on the fields by just doing no-till and plant and cover crops. And after the first year of the grant, and I looked at some of the numbers that were projected by the State Department of Ag, it's amazing like what we can do with just little tweaks and little different practices. So in addition to that, though, we've started an urban soil health group with some other districts, and we've received a grant for that, and we've brought about $4,000 worth of free soil testing and services to people who have vegetable gardens, so that we make sure that they're gardening in soil that's safe to be gardening in, and that they're productive. We are still doing our tree giveaway. This year we're giving away like 3,400 trees, which is really exciting when we see all the damage that was done after the tornado last year. We followed up. We'd already pre-ordered all these trees and passed about 3,000 trees out last year, and so we're hoping to continue to be able to do that. And then another big project that we've completed now was through the DNR, which is another conservation partner. We received a $32,000 grant last year to remove a log jam and debris from the east fork of the White Lick Creek in Mooresville. And so that, removing big things like that can help prevent future flooding. Obviously, lots of erosion happens around those things. And so we're working with farmers. We're trying to expand our youth education a little bit. We're hoping to see that increase over the next couple years with maybe a part-time contractual person or something to help us grow that area. And we just really appreciate all the support that you guys give us here locally and all the effort that you guys put into it. I have a great board. I have since I started, but they've been really supportive. And so we just like to share a little bit about
I've
what
got a
we've been
quiz
doing.
for you, Lisa.
Yeah,
First of all, thank you for all you do.
you're welcome.
Dr. Nicholson is very pleased with the creek.
Yes, he is a very.
He is a good guy. He's a wonderful man. Yeah, and I appreciate you working with him, and I'm sure you enjoyed it. He's a hoot. And his daughter is a great dentist. She's my dentist. I've got the quiz for both of you. What does the word or the statement T by 2000 sound like to you?
T by 2000.
That's all right. I knew you wouldn't.
I think that I have heard that before.
Yeah.
But I want to say that that's like, they wanted to try to reduce the nitrogen by like
It's
20
close.
by 2000. Like just, there was a number like that they wanted to try to reduce it by. Is that what?
I don't know
referring
what
to?
year it was. I think it was about 1980 that I was with Norm Voiles, former commissioner, a member of the board. And our program for that year, several years, my term, it seemed like the whole term, was T by 2000, which meant that T was the amount of tons of soil
Tons of soil, yeah.
that eroded. And you were going to keep that on the soil. In other words, you're going to stop erosion by no-till.
Yeah,
And I no-tilled. They called it in those days ugly farming, and it was.
it is.
It was terribly ugly. But it also allowed me to farm about 350 acres while teaching school. And they weren't all that pretty, but I was one of the earlier, probably, I won't say the earliest, there might have been some other crazy guy out there that did the no-till that's so common today. But my experience on the board was very, very enjoyable. I've met some people that I still have friends with. I don't know if you've ever heard of Joe Peden down in Monroe County, but Joe Peden was our district conservationist who's still kicking around, and he and I are still buddies. And he has a great program down there called, tell Mr. Mesmer here, you take your kids down there next September. But it's the Farm Festival, the Peden Farm Festival
Yeah.
program, and it's unbelievable. That's started with Joe Peden, our district things.
West
I'm all about conservation.
Joe's actually just west of Ellisville on 46, so it's a big festival. He does an awesome job.
Maple Grove Road, and he's a fantastic guy and has been honored for so many things. And his farm is wonderful to go visit. And his mother wrote a good book, so I'll stop there, but she wrote a book about Joe and conservation. It's called Rural Free. It's still in publication. It's like reading modern-day Gene Stratton Porter. So Joe's a great guy. Anyway, I certainly have an affinity for the work you do. It was my first experience in any kind of public service. I don't know how I got there. I've always been lucky to kind of say, would you like to? And I always have a problem with saying yes. Been there?
Yeah, I don't know how to say no, so.
Do you? Oh, yeah, see you here. Thanks. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for your work. And
With that, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the agreement with the Morgan County Soil and Water Conservation District.
Second.
it's been made and seconded. We accept the agreement. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, and thank you
Thank
for the
you.
report.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate the report.
Appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda is Baker Tilly Investment Agreement. Josh?
Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. We've done this a couple times now. This is in particular for our bond proceeds that we closed on earlier this month. This is really to invest it in keeping with our draw schedule so that we can get the maximum interest income possible while we wait, but not to be bound up when it's time to actually spend the money. So we've coordinated with Baker Tilly and our developer to come up with what we need to do to proceed. Cost of this is based on the actual size of the investment, 10 basis points spread out over the year, essentially, is the cost of this. We've done this a few times now, and if you guys are so inclined, we'd like to move forward with this again. And they do want an authorized representative. In our previous ones, I believe, you've had me and Terry do it, with Linda is the representative that attests everything.
That protest everything?
Could be.
Attest or protest?
Any comments from the board? I will make one brief one, that if it's brief, I hardly ever am brief. Baker and Tilly is a part of our program here, and I don't know the public realizes and appreciates how much we go to people that are smarter than us. And, you know, if you're going to have good government, you better have smarts. And I know you're very wise, but we do a lot of, I guess you'd say, synergy with people that work with us in Baker and Tilly and our firm, our law firm. I just love being a part of that process. And the people that we associate with Baker and Tilly are top flight. Yep. And they are also, I think, used by probably Martinsville, Mooresville. I know with Mooresville, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, thank you for working with them, and thank us for being so fortunate. Any other comments on this? Do we just take an agreement on this or approval of this? What's our action that we need to take?
Yeah, a motion to approve the
Brian
agreement.
Meyer makes a motion that we adopt and accept the investment services from Baker Tilly as outlined in the agreement, and have our authorized representatives to be Josh and Terry, with the auditor being there to attest the situation
Second.
Or protest is needed.
or protest.
Been made and seconded with the authorization representatives mentioned as Josh and who'd you say?
Treasurer?
Treasurer? Okay. Any questions or comments from on anybody? Okay. All in favor of the motions, say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. The next item is an agreement with Schneider Kearney about our GIS, and it involves our the old and the new here. Laura Parker from our planning will explain briefly what we're doing.
Right, so what you have in front of you is an amendment to an agreement that we have with Schneider Geospatial. They host our GIS online for the public and in-house. And last summer, we transitioned to them for our online permitting as well. So there was a legacy system that was our tracking for permits prior to our transition to the geo permitting. So in order for them to carry that over and implement it into this system so that we can search it and continue to have that database available to us, we just need to amend the agreement. They're going to do it for free. They just need to sign an agreement.
Bless their heart.
Yeah, bless their heart, yeah. It was part of it. It was just something that came along a little bit later. So this is just for your approval and to appoint somebody to sign on behalf of the county.
And have you been signing on?
No,
county's-
I did not sign this originally.
But your position?
No.
What position signs this?
Me.
You guys do.
Kenny Hill makes a motion that we approve Schneider's First Amendment on to agreement and the authorization to proceed with Laura's project on the old database, merging with the new permitting database.
Second?
I will, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
And I will tell you a little brief history.
I need to add one thing.
Oh,
I
yeah,
forgot
but I'm
the,
part of the guy.
signature. I'll
I'm
go
the
ahead and make it to Mr. Adams.
si-
Be the
signator.
signature.
I would be glad to. One of the interesting things, for what it's worth, I think history's always, that's what I taught. We were the earliest, one of the earliest GIS people, counties. I'm not sure how we got there. I was there, but I don't know how we did it. But probably Kenny Hale.
Yeah.
Brenda Britton and me.
Was Brenda.
Lot
But
of help.
we were number 3 with 39 Degrees North. They were the newest in town. And of course, they grew and they expanded, and now we have Endeavor, and
They got bought out by Schneider.
GIS is an amazing tool.
Yep, we use it every day,
I
multiple
I
times.
use it every day. I'm almost to that point. Find out, now all I need to do is find out the license plates of where they, no, I can't do that. But, it's such a fantastic program for all kinds of things that you do in your office and for the growth of this county. We have to, it's amazing how many people come to our website simply for the GIS. And we've got a good,
important
we've
tool.
got a good one. And I
Yep.
appreciate that. We need to vote on that motion to,
Need a second and then.
Second.
Yes. I made the motion, pointing Donna's
Second.
signature.
all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thanks, Laura.
Thank you.
Laura.
And I will sign
I
it
think we did so
gladly.
twice. Yeah.
NDOT, one on State Road 44, unofficial detour. What's up, Justin?
Good evening. NDOT approached us. They've got an upcoming bridge project on State Road 44, just west of the Morgan County, Johnson County line. And due to that, we anticipate some extra traffic along Nash Chapel, Old Morgantown, and Peavine Roads. This will not be a signed detour, but we just think it's the closest route around the project that local traffic will take. Due to this, NDOT has sent an agreement to us stating that we can monitor the conditions of this unofficial detour and compare the pre-condition to the post-condition, and if there's any damage, they'll help us with the repairs. So coming before you this evening to just look for approval and acceptance of this agreement so I can send it back to NDOT.
First, go ahead.
I was gonna, to me, it makes no reason to question it. They're gonna help us, so I was gonna make a motion that we accept this proposal.
I'll second that motion.
And I'll ask for the vote. All in favor of the vote, say aye.
Aye.
Got something I ran across the other day I was going to stop by and tell you about. I was doing Google Earth, actually Google Earth to find out the location of the Pigeon Loft.
Okay.
But I was driving down Bethel Road.
Right.
I can see everything I want to see. You can do your pacer rating sitting at your table.
Nice.
Have you tried that?
It works better getting out in the field, I'll say that, but you might be able to give it a stab. Yeah.
Well, I don't think, I'm driving through, unless you're driving awful slow, I can stop and check out that alligators and whatever's out there on the road.
Is that right?
But it was amazing. I think they've got different photography or something. And actually, I had a Kenny Hale sign in my front yard, which, so I know about when they did the drive-through. That's the problem with it right now, is you don't know when they did it, and they can't do it
I thought you were gonna
afterwards.
say that the sign in your front yard was the problem.
I gotta be careful there. Well, thank you. And keep an eye on NDOT and make sure we take care of that unofficial.
Will do,
And I know you'll do a good job with it. Thank you, Ed. Thank you very much, Justin. Okay, let's move on here. This is an they've got another acronym for me here. Hang on a second. It's called,
Emergency Management Performance Grant.
oh, I wrote it down. Emergency Management Performance Grant of $44,827.62. This is from the, from Emergency Management.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
this is an annual reimbursement the state gives us for our EMA employees. It's something we do each year.
We apply for it, we get it, huh?
If they score well.
this one I think isn't even based on all those scores. There's lots of other grants. This one is a personnel grant, and I think if you're a community of a certain size, I think everybody gets something.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm glad to see a little money. Is this coming from the state,
Yeah, from Department of Homeland Security.
Homeland Security? Bless their heart.
From FEMA through Homeland.
Okay. Any questions about it? We'll take a motion.
Brian Collier makes a motion that we accept the Emergency Management for Performance Grant Program as outlined.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Old business and tabled business. Ordinance 24-3 is an update on the flood damage prevention ordinance. It's been reviewed again. Do we have any questions, Kenny?
I haven't had a chance to review it. I was going to this weekend and this kind of sidelined me.
I
and
noticed that I didn't get
it
any pictures sent to me over the course of 2 weeks to help with the verbiage.
Dr. Seuss wasn't available.
Touche. Set him up, knocked it out of the park. I read through it, and again, I have to, you kind of mentioned it about getting expertise, and I have to count on the presenter and then one who has been in the office before to lead and find the particulars in the fine print that I could easily read 3 or 4 times and not know that it was inappropriate or, wrong. So what I glanced over and read, I didn't see anything, but I would feel better if Mr. Hale read it. And Laura, I'm sure you would not have presented it had you not read it and was comfortable with it. So as soon as there's agreement there, I will vote for this because I've read through it twice. And
Well, we actually had a little arm wrestling before the meeting, and you can see what happened.
I lost.
So,
I was-
yeah. So we gave him some reading time, all right?
I will get it read before next week's meeting, but I didn't get it done this weekend, Laura, sorry.
Would you like me to set up an appointment? I can come to your house and read
read
it
to
to
us?
you.
No.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Brian Collier makes a motion that we table the flood damage prevention ordinance.
Second.
It's been made and seconded that we table till the next meeting. Can we add that in there? That
Yeah.
gives him
I
a little, till March, and
Not a
he'll,
problem.
yeah, okay.
I just need to emphasize, we're approaching on a deadline in April.
When is the
to get
date?
this
All right.
adopted.
Yeah, that's what I want
So-
to make sure we're safe on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Technical, this is another ordinance, 24-2, technical design standards from our highway department.
Yes, good evening again. So this will be for the second reading of our ordinance regarding adoption of the technical design standards. I believe you guys have had the design standards in your packets for the last couple weeks to review. Just want to know if you guys have any questions I can answer?
You already answered mine the first time.
I don't have any.
All righty.
Kenny Hill makes a motion, we approve ordinance number 2024-2, ordinance adopting and implementing Morgan County technical design standards for the highway department.
I'll second.
Thank you, Justin.
Yes,
Did you-
thank you.
Learn all that up where you are. You've been studying.
What's that?
Did you learn all that up where you came from?
Exactly. Both, a little bit of both.
A little both?
Yep.
Good. Well, that, you bring a wealth to us, and I appreciate that. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
We have
Since
next,
I know most everyone here, I'd just like to point out that his presentation on the second reading did have pictures.
yes, it did.
Dr. Seuss or no Dr. Seuss?
Comic books like stuff. It was a good presentation. Oh, and thank the highway department in general. I think I've made a comment privately, but having you folks out,
Well, that was going to be for the good of the county. You're kind of jumping ahead.
I'll wait. Definitely wait. You scoot over.
Yeah.
Farm lease agreements.
I'm gonna go over one time real fast. The first one in order is it's in your pack. Don't have a bit of problem with it. It's got the legal description. The second one, don't have a problem with. It's complete as well. The next one, there's one parcel number on there, and it is actually the second parcel number. That's never been farmed. I just think that it needs to be removed, that one parcel number.
Which one, what's that on?
That's Boyle's
It's on
Farm.
Boyle's Farm on the second one of theirs.
Okay.
They have farmed the other three property, or other three parcels.
What do they do with that?
This
Has a
one
house.
here, it has a house that we took down, we've been mowing it, taking care of it. They've never farmed it. The rest of them, they do all of it or part of it, the parcels. And I don't have a
So
problem
they
with
made a
that.
bid on it?
They made a bid on the whole thing, yes.
So what do we, what would this result, you just
We're
remove
gonna
that?
take care of that in a motion here in a minute.
Okay, all right.
If you agree, if you don't, that's up to you guys. I don't have a problem with any of the other ones, except I don't like it that we got legal descriptions on some of them. Other ones, we don't have no legal description. I think every lease ought to have a long legal description, and I would, if you guys don't have no questions for me, most of these are all FEMA properties except for 3 leases or not. The one is in the floodway, but it's not a FEMA property, so. My motion would be that we go ahead and just remove the one parcel number from the one farm lease agreement, and then make a motion that we go ahead and include long legal descriptions on every farm lease. Clean it up.
I just have a question. I don't want to jump ahead, but, so I'm kind of parroting what Mr. Adams was asking in terms of, so when they put in the bid on did they put in the bid on the 3 parcels?
Put in the bid on all of the parcels, and there's a total of like 6 there's 2 contracts for Voles Farms.
Right.
and you've
I
got
guess my
2 of
question
them
becomes,
there.
if they bid on it, whether they're farming it or not, isn't it, do we still have to maintain it, or can they?
We've always maintained it, and it's always been in there, but I mean, they've never farmed it, so I don't see why it should be in there.
Okay.
That's just my 2 cents.
Now that the house is gone, could it be tilled?
You could be,
Hay,
but we
hay.
got some stuff setting on it and everything,
Right.
a little bit. We still gotta go ahead and throw and seed it, finish that up, but
Well, if they're not doing anything on it, then we're really not taking anything away, and if they got a problem, I'm sure I'll have a phone
That's
call
the way
by
I look
tomorrow afternoon.
I wouldn't think Norm Jr. would have any problems
No,
with it.
if he
but-
does, I'm supposed to see him later anyway, so.
I mean, if you- I can do it either way, I just like to have
Well, it
things
just
accurate
makes,
and correct.
it's logical to, if it's not being farmed, not to rent it.
That's the way I look at it.
And I'm sure he doesn't want to go down there and mow it, so
Yeah,
I don't think it'll be a problem.
I don't either, really.
I don't
If
either.
it becomes a problem, I'll bring it back up and address it.
Okay,
And in the meantime, I'll make the motion that we accept the contracts with the proposed amendments to it, having the long legal descriptions attached to the properties.
And the omission of the 1 parcel on the
And
Boyles.
omission of the one parcel that had the house on it that's never been farmed.
most of those farms, at least I've got a little dab of ground south of town, and we go through the farmer itself, and they have to, there's certain payments that are made by the, well, first of all, you get insurance if you go through the farm agencies out of Bloomington. There's also a certain amount, if they're paying, there has to be reports made down at Bloomington at the farm, I don't know, the farm agency. I just know, they know me, and they know I'm hardly ever on time. But I try to, I work on it. But it seems like that would have all the information for each of the farms involved, as far as,
Oh, I think that Mr. Hale's going to get us the full legal description on all of them.
Get 'em,
We
put 'em on
we
there.
can get them, it's a matter of public record.
We can get them right here.
well, you're just looking for the plot, though. You don't look for the
Getting
amount
the
of,
long
the
legal
yield.
description.
What I'm looking at is, there's yield information on each
Oh,
of those. That might be,
Some of the things are cash rent, so it's like $500 no matter what the yield is, so it doesn't matter.
and that's all right, but I would have liked to rented ground no matter what. if usually the owner of the land is a recipient of some of the benefit. But they might just include that in the bid.
Okay, but then we'll vote on this, but I have a question about going forward at the end of these 3 years, because this is like a 3-year contract, right? Okay. I
Okay.
don't want to cloud the waters.
I don't
before the
either,
vote.
but I think we've got some work to do in the next 3 years.
I do too.
All right?
Understood.
All in favor of Kenny's motion? You seconded it?
Brian made.
Oh, you made the motion.
I'll second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got who was,
And I'll
What
vote for my
horse?
motion. Aye.
aye.
But going forward, is there some type of exclusion in here that I can't get one of these 10 or 12 acre parcels, that it has to be for farming? I can't put a dirt track or buy it to go hunting? I mean,
Well, that would
to get
be-
12 acres for $500 for a 3-year, that's pretty cheap hunting land.
Well, that's per year, but yeah, it is awful cheap hunting land.
So I think we
Cheap
should.
farming land.
Right, but I think going forward after this, we should hone that in, because I don't think we need that type of liability on our properties, even though it's subleased by somebody else, that I can buy that, and then that's gonna become my hunting refuge for the next 3 years. Just food for thought, because I started reading through here and I thought, there's really no
Yep, there's none.
exclusions to what they do on technically our property. It's just leased to them.
There is on all the FEMA property, but it's not, hunting's not addressed. Any kind of construction is, so yes.
Right, you can't naturally, but I'm just,
Well, I think the conservation, I don't know if you ever, has SWCD ever been involved in any of the ground that's been rented? Okay. We might want to look at that, and get together on that. By the way, do you still have the no-till drill? Good. I was there when they got the first one, and it's a dandy thing to have. We could probably use more than 2, but good. Okay, so the motion, as I understand it right now,
it passed.
it passed, but what we're going to do is,
Research it before
Research
these
it.
contracts come
And-
up again on our,
we'll be here.
I hope,
Yeah.
if the citizens, if we're blessed.
All right, did we vote?
Yes.
Oh, gosh, all right, let's move on then. I just wanted to make sure we knew what we were going to do next for the minutes, sake of the
And
minutes.
I'm gonna ask Deb, since I'm a man, I'll forget. Don't let me forget that, because that needs to be looked at before the last minute, and then we rush it again, please. Thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda is the purchase agreement for radio equipment. This is for the folks on the Hill.
Just need the addendum.
Scotty, what you got? Oh, my gosh, you brought a computer.
Yeah, well, Brian wanted pictures, so.
Oh, pictures.
I like
You see the
pictures.
That's
pictures?
a picture of
It's
the,
1,000 words. Sit down, Scott.
picture of it being built. Just here for approval of purchase agreement. Ann's reviewed it, and there was an
I've
addendum.
reviewed it, I've addended it.
Yeah.
I did the addendum, and frankly, it was just to put in language that statutorily should be there in terms of E-Verify and so forth, because of the government contract aspect.
Glad to have you at this table.
Well, Mr. Hamilton may not have been very glad because I was holding him up, but we did get that taken care of. And what we've decided is that this addendum is something, we get so many short-form contracts from people who don't do government contracting, that I'm hoping that Josh will be able to use this with, I remember when I was with the city, everything from fireworks to, other equipment purchases and so forth, you get these standard purchase agreements. So this should be something that will cover us
Good.
in terms of the addendum.
Thank you very much, Ann.
You are welcome.
Appreciate it.
And I don't have a whole lot else. There's a finance proposal, but it'll be in the future meeting.
That's right.
It's already been budgeted for this year for a
Right.
5-year financing, so
So they took the 5 versus the 4?
that's what was put in the or that's what we had set up for in the budget. I'm sorry?
You have the financing agreement? No, that's the terms.
That's the
not the
terms.
agreement. That is not a lease
Yeah,
agreement.
we don't have the
So,
official agreements.
so the actual lease agreement will come in front of you at a later date.
So what action do you need upon, for this evening?
Do that one. Just go ahead and act on it.
Approve on the purchase agreement, and then we can,
Kenny Howe makes a motion that we approve the addendum to the Morgan County 911 Telex Dispatch Counseling System Purchase Agreement and the Maintenance Contract Terms and Conditions.
Second.
And this is going to be followed up by a lease agreement? Okay. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Scotty.
thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Scotty.
Appreciate it.
And thank you, council. I guess we got to thank the council.
Thank you for the picture.
And the
Yeah.
picture.
Just for your information, on Friday evening on the little snow squall we had, a little bit more than a snow squall, we processed 348 911 calls from 3 PM to 11 PM. 240 of those calls were in the first 4 hours, so we were processing a 911 call every 1 minute is what we were processing. And we generated 158 CAD calls, and 108 of those were in the first 4 hours of the call.
Can you identify the ones that were for county roads and versus state roads?
We probably can if we want to break her down, but it
That
was.
would be
it was a-
interesting to see.
It was a
would be-
mess.
that'd be
Mostly
tough.
the.
Oh, I know, I
mean, most of radio traffic revolved around state
Yeah.
roads. I mean.
It was a-
44 was a
it was
mess.
crazy.
252 was a mess.
Yeah.
69, we had some issues, but really, and then south of us, 69, they kind of basically shut it down for a while.
Crazy time. You knew you'd be busy.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy.
I don't think, I put in a word that it's not going to happen the rest of the year, so.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
hoping not. That was enough.
Okay. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, was there a comment down here? Did you say something, Linda?
No, Deb asked me how long it took me to get home.
No, they were just having their own little conversation.
The other item we have on the business is left is or one of the items left is the tort claim. Any comments on the tort claim?
Brian Kyer makes a motion that we send the tort claim on to our insurance.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It looks like it has been.
I was gonna say, it looks like it already has been, they zeroed it out, but I'll second your
Did he
motion, sir.
refile?
Who put this in to the?
Motion that says if necessary.
Just,
In my motion to say if necessary.
All right.
I'll second that.
All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. We have another, is that also the one from, is that why Travelers is connected to this one? Okay, that's why it's not, maybe not necessary. Gotcha. All right, we're down to, for the good of the county.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Highway Department, thank dispatch, thank the Sheriff's Department. Unfortunately, as a fireman on duty, I got to be out in the thick of things to work right alongside with you during that crazy time. I call it the Christmas tree. We have a CAD, a TV monitor, and when everything starts getting dispatched, it just lights up like a Christmas tree. I know that we emptied the city barn 3 times in 30 minutes. We had engines helping and assisting everywhere. I only actually had one person complain to me, which is in today's society very unheard of, and I had hundreds of people reaffirm what a great job. So I would suggest to anybody out there, don't listen to the one, listen to the hundreds. And I don't have a problem saying that publicly.
Yep.
They shut down a federal highway south of town for 2 to 3 hours. They shut down a state highway for over 2 hours, 252. They shut down for a short period of time, 67, an observatory, I don't know how long. We had 13 wrecks going within about a 20 or 30-minute span of time. I'd like to thank the director and assistant director up on the Hill who coordinated the emergency weather advisory. We functioned very, 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 very well. I'm not speaking that because I was I sit up here, I'm speaking that because I was standing out in the 3 inches of snow that came in approximately 2 hours of time, and we had over 5 inches everywhere I went. So I was very excited to be part of what I consider a winning team in that storm, and I will beat the drums and blow the horns. We did a very good job of handling that emergency situation. I felt for dispatch, the car wreck that I went on was on Burton Lane, and I couldn't even get the engine to that. There was already another wreck before I got to that wreck, and there were so many cars diverting to that direction that I walked to the wreck and left my engine and back there. Fortunately, it was a property damage only. So we had people and emergency services everywhere. I felt sorry for my dispatch center up on the hill because I couldn't follow all the traffic. It was just tons of us talking, trying to relay the situations that we were in. And so I can't thank the citizens. I mean, you guys, for the majority of them, I know it was a horrible timing, but they got off the roads, and when they got off the roads, they stayed off the roads. Probably about 7 or 8 o'clock that night, you would have thought in the city it turned to a ghost town because there was nobody out on the roads. And that's what we need. That does allow time for the snow to discontinue, and then it makes sense that once it's stopped, to go out and start plowing. To sit there and argue that we needed trucks out at 2 o'clock when it started spitting would have been a complete waste of manpower and resources. And then to argue with me that that did not come down at over an inch per hour for about at least a good 3 hours, and then it tapered off. But we had 5 inches. So again, long story short, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Amen.
Before we run away, in your packet, I might have cut something off too quickly. When we were looking at the equipment that Mr. Hamilton brought to us, and we're talking about the financial terms, they do require approval. Can we go ahead and approve the 5 years so that we can have Mr. Adams sign off, Commissioner Adams sign off on the financial approval on that agreement? It's in your packet. Sorry.
Problem with it?
Well, because I told you that the lease was coming later, we have the general financial terms in your packet, but I think we need a signed copy of that, so we need an approval of that.
And why did we pick, just since you brought it back up, the 5 versus the 4?
I didn't, but I believe that that was based on budgeting. If you look at the form, it just changes the amount per year of the 5 versus 4.
And we end with a $1 buyout on both of those, correct?
Yes.
Brian Kyer makes the motion that we accept the, pardon?
The terms of the
The
agreement.
terms of the agreement, and Mr. Adams can sign off on that contract.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
I'll keep my pen hot.
And so now, Commissioner Collier, if you want to say something else passionate to end the meeting on, since I messed that all up for you, I'll just slink out the back door.
No. Well, I do have one question that I have sat here and, believe it or not, bit my tongue the whole time. Now that you've pointed out that you have an E on the end of Ann, but you still go by Ann, you don't go by Annie?
No, it's a silent E.
Silent E. Okay. Just wanted to clarify that we weren't calling you by the wrong name, too. I make the motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. I will tell you, I'll really talk about a silent language. John Kennedy always used the word Cuba instead of Cuba, and he said it was because the R was silent. I know it's kind of crazy.
All in favor? All in favor of adjournment?
Adjournment.
Aye.
Aye.
There's some free food on the back.
Oh, yeah, take any of the containers, don't take the thing that holds them, but you're welcome